Minister Malatsi has responded to the criticism, saying people aren't genuinely concerned about policy, but instead using outrage to slow down progress.
For some context, in May this year, we issued a policy directive that sought to harmonize regulations between both the provisions of the BBBE Act and also the regulations that were issued by the Independent Communications Authority in 2021, which resulted in a limitation that we believe should not have happened, where it limited the provisions to empowerment to only ownership. That process went through an open public process. We received over 19,000 submissions. Upon further interrogation of those submissions, 15,000 of them were substantive. The other were duplicate submissions.
Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies, Kusela Tiko, has called on ICASA to apply its mind on the minister's directive.
Now, what we are prepared to do as Parliament is that we're going to convene a meeting early in the year where we are going to appraise the committee of these developments and obviously ask the minister to brief us. As I said before, this is not the first time we are going to be doing it, but we are dealing with a minister who seems very intent on undermining Parliament, very intent on undermining the law. We have sought to understand whether a policy directive, which is of such huge import, he's even brought it before Cabinet for consideration. While it's not a requirement, we would think that something of this nature, which seeks to tamper with the laws of this country, he would have at least sought the wisdom of his collective. It seems that he has not done that here either.
Meanwhile, business writer for Business Day, Mudiwa Gavaza, says the approach by the minister may be legal, but it brings into question the original intention of empowerment rules by changing how transformation is achieved.
Companies in the sector that I look at, technology, media, and telecoms, we've seen that a lot of international technology companies have been using this. However, its use in telecommunications specifically is where the real angst is right now, because the empowerment has always focused on ownership in telecommunications. So it's almost a feeling at this point, that's where the opposition comes from, people feeling that the rules are being bent to accommodate Starlink, whose founder, Elon Musk, has said he's not going to, take on an ownership type of discussion. So, this is where we are. All of it, there is empowerment. However, the issue at hand is how do you deal with the conversation around ownership?
National African Farmers Union President Mutsipe Matlala acknowledges that smallholder farmers in South Africa do not have adequate access to the internet, but says relaxing policy to benefit certain individuals is not a good idea.
Because clearly our historical oppressive methods where black farmers were excluded to the markets, were excluded to own anything, including land. When anybody then come into South Africa just because he is somebody, then our law or our rules are relaxed. I think that is absolutely unfair. That is not really recognizing the plight of the previously oppressed people.
ICASA has yet to respond to the directive. Nosipho Khatebe, SABC News, Johannesburg.